Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition show. My name is James Lim Overton, and I'm here with co-host Leah Drake Stitt and Thomas the Colonel Chapman. Hello, co-host.
All
Hello
right.
there. How are you?
Yes.
I'm doing good. How's everybody this Thursday evening?
Every day is a good day.
Every day is a good day. Every evening is a good evening. Well,
Yes.
anyway, we're here this evening with some special guests. And Leah, if you will you please introduce them? I know
Okay,
there's some people that are very dear to your heart and mine.
they
So
are my
introduce them
heart.
with.
They are my heartbeat. Do you hear me?
I
I
hear
could
you.
not, I could not exist without these ladies who are on here tonight. It gives me great pleasure to introduce. I guess I will start with uh, Miss Joanne, Miss Joanne Yarborough Carver from the class of 1967, my classmate, and she is the co-host for the grand reunion. And we also have with us my child, and none other than Crystal Hawthorne. Crystal is our absolutely fantastic treasurer who keeps an accurate account of every dollar that passed through the coffers of IC Norcom High School. And she's doing an amazing job. And they've had her completely busy this past month, especially so this past month. And what can I say without my VP, my vice president, Samara Montgomery? Samara Montgomery, the vice president, and she is the co-host for the Grand Reunion, along with Dr. Joanne Carver. So I want to say welcome to the three of you to Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And what a great time for us to come on to Portsmouth Coffee Talk because we're at the conclusion of the time for individuals to purchase their ads, purchase their tickets for the gala, and everyone is excited. And so we need to share some information with the public to let them know just where we are, what to expect, and and how can we assist them if they're having any difficulties at all. So once again, I want to say welcome to my three dream ladies, and welcome again to Portsmouth Coffee Talk. So, ladies, let's get started. We know today was the final day for your purchase your tickets as well as to purchase your ads. Crystal, I guess we need to fall on you because there's still some people who are trying to purchase tickets and ads. So, can you give them what they need to do in order to? Should we start there or should we start with the grand reunion itself?
Whichever one you would like to do.
Well, let's start with them because I had a lot of questions today about purchasing tickets and ads.
Now, I don't handle the actual ad part, but there is an email link that Samara sent out some time ago where everybody is supposed to send their ads to, but they can still pay by paying by online on the website www.icnaacc.org, or they can pay by text to give, and they would text the word Norcom to 833-255-6170 and follow the prompts. And that's a quick and easy way to pay. And we can get you accounted for and you get a receipt instantly.
And Samara, maybe you need to share with the public the fact that we are not using tickets. We are ticket lists. This is a ticket list event. So could you share with them that what that means that we're ticket lists?
What that means, we were trying to be strategic because we know that unfortunately for events, we do have people that are not trustworthy, whether, outside of our Norcom circle. But due to that, we wanted to make sure that those persons that paid, everyone is accounted for. Madam Treasurer has a list of everyone. There's been people, oh, how do we get in? How do we get in? I will be sending that email out I said by September the 1st. So the email will go out tonight. that explains how you will get in, and it will be by wristband. So everyone will get a wristband to come in. You will not get the wristband until you show up to the door. And why? Because unfortunately, some people will try to duplicate wristbands. So you will not get the wristband until you actually show up. And we have several days for registration: Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And all of this will be sent out via email, and it will be communicated as well on social media and at our next meeting, which will be the first Tuesday of September, on Tuesday, September the 5th. So all details will go out prior to, and you'll hear us speak about it on September the 5th as well.
Can I just make mention that I know Madam President was getting a lot of information that the website was saying the cutoff was September 15th. And that has been changed, but it couldn't be changed to the day, but it was changed to September the 1st.
To September the 1st. The cutoff September the 1st.
And I just want to say, some people have also asked, oh, can we get tickets at the door? Can we get tickets at the door? Unfortunately not. This is like a wedding. It's RSVP. We have to account for every person that we get registration items for. And most importantly, we want to make sure everyone eats. So anyone showing up, we have to give our count to the Marriott prior to the date of the function. So we have deadlines that we have to meet. And in order to ensure that you get your food and you get everything that you paid for, we had to have a cutoff.
Wonderful. Colonel, you have any questions from my wonderful team here?
Yes, I think the first question I would have, and I think that this might be a question for the folks out there, what is the cost for each one of the events? Could you lay down each cost?
Friday night, Friday only ticket, which is the only night that you can buy a single night ticket for, is $100. And the Friday night and Saturday night is $225, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Let me clarify. You get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the $225. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference in the cost. Friday night is just $100. That's the only ticket you can buy a single night for. The other ticket is $225, which carries you for the whole weekend.
Mm-hmm. So you got two tiers.
Dr. Cobb. Okay, go ahead, Colonel.
So that's 2 tiers. So say if I only wanted to go, say you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if you only could go 1 or 2 of those nights, can that be broken up?
If you're only going to, regardless, if you're only going to go Friday, you'll pay $100.
Okay, yeah, but I'm talking about Saturday, the other 3 days.
You at your leisure, but you're going to pay $225 to go to Saturday night.
Okay, got it.
And Sunday, there's no charge because it's church.
Correct.
Okay, yes.
So,
how about parking? Is there no parking fee?
We are trying to work on that now, Colonel, and we're hoping that we are praying and we are asking for indulgence from our lovely city of Portsmouth, since we brought the Grand Reunion back to the city of Portsmouth. So we are hoping that they will definitely look out for our guests as far as the parking fees are concerned, but we have not gotten word on that yet, but it is a request that we've made.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And you may be wondering, what are you going to get for that money?
Yes.
So Friday night, Dr. Joanne Carver, our planner extraordinaire, what will they get for Friday? But no, we got to start with Friday during the day and then go to Friday night. We can't hear you. Fix your mic, Joanne. We can't hear you. You turn your mic on. James, can you see with her mic? You can't see either, can you?
It's still muted. I see it with the slash through it.
Yeah.
So unmute yourself, Dr. Carver. Okay, Dr. Carver will come back and she will share that information. While we're waiting,
I'll start off with Friday if you want
Okay,
me to,
that
and
would
she
be
can
great.
come in with Saturday. So Friday, we will be doing a wreath laying ceremony at the gravesite of Mr. Norcom. That event will take place during the daytime. It is an actual ceremony, not long. However, it is a respectful ceremony that Dr. Carver that she put together and planned. After that, we come back that night and we have Norcom night on Friday. And that we want you to wear all the paraphernalia you can find with Norcom and come out and have a good time with Gator Almond and the Spice of Life band and Rashida She Ready Hardy. And we are going to just kick back and have a good time. Friday is a more casual event. We themed it the Norcom Renaissance because it's a new era that Norcom is going into. And we would like to celebrate the persons from Norcom that have actually made a difference at Norcom. These are what we call unsung notables that we are honoring on Friday night. So, some people, I know everyone is geared up for Saturday, but Friday is, don't take Friday lightly. We plan on having a ball on Friday as well. I'm hoping that Doc will come back in because I don't want to steal her thunder. So she could talk about Saturday. But we do have several times for registration that we want everyone to come out for, because the committee has worked so hard. It's not just a one person, it's everyone pulling together. And we want to enjoy the whole shebang that we all helped put together. So that's why we hope that people will register early, and we will be shutting down the registration probably about 30 minutes before the program starts to ensure that we're able to take our seats and enjoy the program. The 6 o'clock, the doors open, all doors open at 6 o'clock, and the program start time is at 7 on both nights. Both nights, 6 o'clock, the doors will open, and 7 o'clock, the program will start.
Also mentioned about 6:45.
Yes, 6:40, we'll close the door, and that will be our grand processional. This is something new. We're gonna have a grand processional. We're not gonna tell you who will be proceeding in, so make sure that you get there early to get your seat. It is first come, first seated, unless you have a reserved table that you purchased from Madam Treasurer. At that time on Friday and Saturday, we will close the door at 6:40. The grand processional will start at 6:45, and we just ask that you do not proceed through the doors until after the processional is over. So we'll reopen the door at 7 o'clock.
So
Crystal, you have
basically, they
anything?
be on time.
You have to be on time.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yes, we have to. We have
Okay.
food being
We
served.
also want people to bring ID when they come, so we can check your ID, because we don't want people to come up and use somebody else's name. We just want to make sure who we're giving tickets to, or excuse me, wristbands to, that belongs to that particular person. So make sure you bring your ID.
Okay, let's be real. No CP time.
Thank you.
Not everybody knows what that is, but most people do. But look, I just want to say, you said Sunday is going to be free. Make sure you bring money to put in that plate. I know they're going to
Thank
pass the
you.
plate.
Amen.
Yes.
You're all going to be in church now.
Yeah.
But anyway, I have a question now. All this is set up, and it's going to be a grand affair, just like the name indicates. But going forward, we've been having these for a while now. So what's the time span in between? Because I see you have 42 people you're gonna recognize, and it's a lot of people that came through those halls that probably need recognized. So I guess that's going to continue. But what is going to be? And I know it takes a while to put these together. So when will be the next grand reunion? How can people look forward to it? Is it going to be every 5 years, every 10 years? And I know, and I'm asking this because I know next time you're probably going to need more help. Every time it's going to get grander and grander, and just want people to be ready to volunteer and everything. So what's the time frame is it going to be for each grand reunion that we have going forward?
James, historically, we had our grand reunions every 4 years.
Okay, that's a lot.
However,
That's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot. However, we need to revisit that 4 year arena because of the fact that we're losing the people who actually have the sense of history. And we need to be able to generate that history to those who are coming behind us. So, really, if we wait 4 years, we kind of lose a segment of the students. We use a large segment of students because many of the students now don't have that sense of history that those of us had who came through Norcom up until I would say the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
You think I'm correct? Am I correct?
That's correct.
Up until the
That's
90s,
correct.
they don't have a sense of history. You know, there was a time when the students had to learn the alma mater, to learn something about the history of Norcom, which has not been required in the past couple of years. So in order for us to get the students engaged, I think we're going to have to revisit that 4 year span and maybe narrow it down to we can't do it in less than 2 years because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of
Mm.
work, a lot of work. And you have a lot of people who are excited about getting involved, but then you end up with only a few people who actually do all the leg work. And it's a lot on just a few people. So we will revisit that. We need to revisit that once this reunion is over, once we critique this reunion and see those things that we need to perfect on and those things that we need to leave out. And then we'll be ready. Now, one thing that we're doing this year, James, as well, is trying to keep the history alive. Not only are we honoring those 46 notables, but we're also honoring 4 current students at IC Norcom because we need to start getting the students engaged into this history of IC Norcom. We need to get them involved and understand why we have such a love for Israel Charles Norcom High School. So, if for your question, it's usually every 4 years, but we must look at the possibilities of revisiting it and coming up maybe every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you miss out on some people, and it's a shame we won't have Mr. Fears, involved in this. But he was around for other past grand reunions.
He was, he was.
And we'll have a chance to bring up all the information you want to give. But I want to ask you, since we have the alumni here, because it's so important, you all do a lot of work with the schools, directly with the schools, and it's important that you have a relationship with the administration. And I know the last administration, it took a little while for him to warm up to the alumni, if you want to be honest about it. But once he did, it was smooth sailing from then on. But so you have a transition, you have a new leadership there at IC Norcom. So, and I know that from what I see that you all have established a relationship already. Tell us how important that is to have that kind of relationship with the administration, because sometimes you can have a great relationship with the superintendent, but actually dealing with that administrator that's there at the school is so important, or it would hinder some of the things that you all try to do.
It is extremely important, James, that we have a great relationship with the administration because of some of the things that we are engaged in inside the school as well as outside the school. We have a new principal there, Miss Tisha Sanders. I've had the opportunity to meet her twice. We've not had a chance yet to actually sit down and have hardcore conversation, but we've had some great discussions. And she comes in with a knowledge of the history of the Norcom family. She comes in with the knowledge of the Alumni Association. And that's a good thing. And that's a good thing. And I think that we're going to have a wonderful working relationship with her. We are going to give her the benefit of the doubt. We are going to help her in any way that we can, because if she is successful, then we as the Alumni Association will be successful as well. So we're looking forward to working with Ms. Sanders, and she should be at our Saturday event and our Sunday event. And she'll get a little taste. She'll get a real taste of Norcom. And one thing that she told me when I saw her on Friday night was that I think it was the person who does her hair was telling her that they were getting their outfits ready for homecoming. And she said, what are you talking about, getting outfits ready for homecoming? And the person says, yes, well, that's what we do at Norcom. You know, we get prepared for homecoming. So so she was just kind of joking around about how we are and that intensity and that love that we have. And she's beginning to feel that intensity and that love. So I'm really looking forward to working. And it is a crucial, James, because we've had some administrators who did not want to work with us. And they kind of blackballed us in the school. So I'm glad that she has come in with an open mind and an open heart, and she's willing to work with the Alumni Association.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick note here. Dr. Carver says that all of her tests work, but it won't let her unmute her mic. So I don't know what's taking place with Dr. Carver's abilities to get on, because I really wanted her to share, because a lot of the ideas of the activities that are going on that weekend are her ideas and events that she has pulled together. But Samara,
I've been trying to pull her in, but Leah, if you get a chance, see if you can send her another invite.
Ask her to join by her phone.
okay.
Tell her to use her phone.
Okay.
But I have another question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime we all get together and there's more than two people together, of us together.
I think she's coming in now.
Okay. And so two or more of us get together, and there is a order of merit that we're going to choose somebody. So are you going to give a disclaimer and or look at the criteria? How did you get how did you pick out the 46 honorees out of the thousands of folks that have walked through those halls?
Well, Colonel, we began.
Wait.
Go ahead.
And of the 4 current students that you have selected out of the couple hundred folks that are walking those halls now, how did you pick those 4 now?
Okay. Now, as far as the 46 are concerned, Colonel, we back in December, January, we put out that we wanted classes to nominate individuals from their class who they felt could who projected the life of Mr. Norcom. So we asked the classes to nominate individuals from their class. That was the first thing. Okay. And you know how we are. Sometimes we're a little slow in coming to the table, and sometimes we wait till it's the nth hour, and then we want to nominate someone. But we had to have a cutoff date. So many of the people were nominated by others as a notable. And they had to send us their bios and their pictures and all of those things. So they were nominated, many by their classmates and others by other individuals who have attended Norcom. They nominated the individuals who we're honoring. So that's the nomination for the 46. Also, for the students, before Dr. Foster left, I asked Dr. Foster who were the leaders, who were some of the leaders in the school. We wanted some of the students who actually engaged in activities within the school, those students who engaged academically in the school, and those kids who just projected an overall solid well-being within the school. And these were individuals who have attended the leadership training that they do at the school for the students, and students who are engaged and involved in the activities. Now, one of our honorees is a young man who came over. I think it was from, I don't know if it was from the Philippines, or I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, it was my understanding when he and his sister came here that they spoke very little English. Now, this young man has excelled academically, and I think he plays every sport there is in the school. He's engaged in the activities around the school. He's involved in the leadership in the school. These type of children, we are hoping that they will in turn go back and influence their fellow classmates to do well, to kind of follow along in their footsteps so that they too can be honored at another time within the IC Norcom alumni family.
So a follow-up question. Great answer. But as the nominations came in, what was the vetting process?
The vetting process?
Yeah, so you got the applications and you got the resumes. You already said the resumes.
The classmates.
So was there a committee that wiped out some and put some through.
Actually, we didn't have to wipe out anyone, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we didn't have to wipe out anyone because there were, we said 45. We ended up with 46 nominations.
Okay.
So we didn't have to wipe anyone out.
Okay.
And they're all great nominees.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Good. Good. That answers my questions.
Mhm.
That because somebody's going to ask that.
Oh, you know they are, Doc. They've already been asking, Doc. That's for
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
Mhm.
Colonel. I've
Yeah.
gone from Colonel to Doc.
Yeah.
Doc Howard, do you have your mic now, Doc?
I'm on my phone.
Yay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Don't know what was going on, but everything was hooked up and it just wasn't, says the mic wasn't there.
So, Doc, we were talking about the events that are taking place. Samara took us through Friday. Do you want to take us through Saturday and Sunday?
I'd like to hear what Samara said.
Well,
You know she did you well, Doc.
I
I
know.
did. I told them, Doc, about the wreath laying ceremony that you had planned and how it is an actual ceremony. And Norcom night on Friday night while we're coming out with our paraphernalia to have fun and listen to the sounds of Gator Almond and a Spice of Life band and laugh to Rashida She Ready Hardy. And we're going to have, we're identifying those persons at Norcom that have really contributed to the culture at Norcom and helping students as well as staff. And that is our unsung notables that will be honored on that night as well. So I talked about Norcom night and how much fun we're going to have. And I said, I don't want to steal her thunder because I know she's been planning a whole lot. And Saturday, I hope she can get back on and talk. So I'm glad you're here. So you go ahead on and talk about Saturday and Sunday.
But I just want to thank you all. I don't, if it can go wrong, it will. But anyway, patience is a virtue with technology. But I did want to add, if in the event you didn't say this about Friday afternoon, the ceremony starts at 11:30 and it goes until noon. It's a 30-minute ceremony. And we plan to have the NJROTC, Mr. Israel Charles Norcom will be there with us in the form of an impersonator, and as well as the wreath laying that you've all heard about. And so that will be a very, very, very memorable commemoration of Mr. I.C. Norcom, Israel Charles Norcom. We're very excited about our Saturday activities. Of course, we are preparing to do something a little different. We're stepping outside the box rather than just having a regular program. We are hosting our program in the form of an Oscar ceremony like program. And so everything is formal. We have two legacy co-hosts, John and May Askew from the first graduating class of IC Norcom that was located on Turnpike Road, the class of 57. They will co-host. They're a husband and wife team. They graduated together and they have all kinds of energetic I'll say energy and all kinds of ties to the community as well. We have an MC who is going to be the voice of the Norfolk State Spartans,
Spartan
Norfolk
Legion,
State
the voice of the
University
Spartan Legion.
Spartans. His name is Eric Johnson. And so he will be our MC. We'll have Raw Jazz, and they're going to offer Oscar-like introductions of various little things. I'm not going to give it all away. But the title or the overall theme for our weekend is Lift Every Voice. And I'll say ... celebrating IC Norcom High School. So we are actually looking at the various entities, the various voices, the various lights that shine down on our beloved 145-year-old legacy, as well as the present and the future. And so we're looking at honoring academics, performance in the guise rather of our chorus and band, our athletic components, our cultural components, and any voice that has had an impact on the success of IC Norcom High School over the years. So we're really excited about that. We have all kinds of things going on. We're going to have a sub theme of this little light of mine, and of course the lights are the notables, as well as all of the other voices that impact the culture and heritage and the success of our high school over time. So we're looking at that in a little bit different way, and people hopefully will be surprised. They'll be able to, some people have said, well, will we get a chance to hear Rod Jazz? Of course you will. Of course there will be music. Of course there will be singing. Of course there will be laughter. Of course there will be solemnity. So we're excited we're going to have it all. And on Sunday morning, we will be joining Reverend Turner at the Zion Baptist Church, and under the direction of our creative artist, Dr. Peggy Britt, Reverend Dr. Peggy Britt, we are going to host our alumni choir. We have wonderful volunteers that are going to step forth. We have a program that will be in place. We're asking that people be seated by at least 10:45, because the actual program and the service will start at 11, and it'll be approximately an hour and maybe a couple of minutes over that. So we don't want you to miss anything. We will be celebrating the symbolic place where the very beginning of Mr. Israel Charles Norcom's actions took place in the form of the school, the high school, the combined elementary high school, and his tenure as the first supervising administrator of the school. So that's a very, very, very important and symbolic gesture. So come out and join us. If you haven't signed up, you have overnight, sign up and join us for the fun.
I have another question. This might have been covered already, but for the folks that are coming in from out of town, are the local hotel? Are you recommending any local hotels, and are they giving you a break?
The host hotel is the Renaissance, and we've had rooms reserved up through August 29th. So the cutoff just happened. They gave us a great rate of $159. So if you do have reservations, please make sure that you just confirm your rate. But the rate was $159 plus taxes. As far as I know, Colonel, a lot of people that were planning on getting rooms did manage to make their reservation.
Good.
And you
have to ask, originally, hold on, I have to let someone in.
Wait, James. That's Crystal. Go ahead.
Yeah. Originally, when you started the planning for this, it was based on 110 years.
Yes.
And with the research of I believe it was one of the alumni members, found out that it was much older than the 110 years advertised. So that those years have been added on to the celebration. Is that now an official part of the record as far as the years of Norcom's existence?
Well, we have received a proclamation from the school board in acknowledging the 145 years. We're also waiting. We have solicited a proclamation from under the leadership of Senator Louise Lucas. We should be getting a proclamation from the General Assembly. We will not have it in time for the grand reunion because the General Assembly was out of session when we approached her about getting the proclamation. So we cannot get the proclamation until the General Assembly goes back into a special session so that the proclamation can be signed. So we're thankful to Senator Louise Lucas for doing this on our behalf to get the General Assembly to extend the proclamation to IC Norcom High School in celebration of its 145 years. You know, people want to tend to think that they changed the name of the school to Norcom after Mr. Norcom died, but there was a school prior to when they changed the name to Norcom. And if you look at any historically Black school, you will find that it's not the name. Like Booker T was not originally Booker T. Dunbar was not originally Dunbar. These names were changed too, but there's a history that comes prior to you're receiving the name of Israel Charles Norcom, Booker T receiving the name of Booker T Washington. And that's one thing that we had to look at, because in our research, Crystal and Roderick were very an important part. They did a lot of this research, and they found we found diplomas, right, Crystal? We found other things.
1907, signed by Israel Charles Norcom.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are finding documentation, you know, to verify those
Yeah.
things that we have found out.
And unfortunately, back then, due to the state of the Commonwealth, a lot of things that dated us were destroyed, or they did not keep record of. And so what we did was we used original artifacts. We ended up having an original certificate of an individual that graduated back at the oh gosh, before Norcom had its name. And that,
school.
yes.
But it was called,
Yeah.
the diploma said Portsmouth School.
So we had those artifacts to help support the argument.
But you know, as you say, some things were destroyed. You know, take a look back and see if maybe it was a letter that might have been lost, that might have been addressed to me, inviting me to be a member of the Hall of Fame in basketball. You know, so you know, since you're digging, just see if something might come up concerning that, because I've been waiting like 50 years for this letter, and I think
I saw
maybe,
that letter, James.
yeah, I think it's had to be a mistake somewhere. How could you leave me off being a part of the Basketball Hall of Fame? But I just wanted to throw that in since you're doing your research, and do that for a fellow Greyhound, will you?
We will make sure.
You know what, James, we're gonna find your letter, because I know that it was written, okay? But
Yeah.
one thing I want to mention also, there's some people who ask me, like, why y'all got this guy from Norfolk State? He's not a graduate of Norcom High School. But you know, you got to realize Norcom and Norfolk State has a rich history.
We like two peas in a pod.
Because Samuel Fisker Scott from Portsmouth, Virginia, born in 1907, graduated in 1926 from IC Norcom High School. His nickname was Scotty. He went on, and he was the one who established or started Norfolk State University from scratch. James, you would love the fact that he went to Virginia Union. So you would like that. There's a connection.
Oh yeah, I like that.
So there's a rich connection between Norcom and Norfolk State University. Just as people are saying, well, why are y'all going to Zion? He's not a Norcom graduate. Well, Zion and Norcom have a rich history that is connected. The
That's
first
right.
Chestnut Street School was held in Zion Baptist Church. Zion Baptist Church was land given to them sold to them for $1 by Court Street Baptist Church. And that's where the missionaries started the first schools for Blacks in Portsmouth. And then not only that, the first graduating class from when it was renamed to Israel Charles Norcom High School, that first graduating class graduated in Zion Baptist Church. So Zion and Norcom, they have a rich history together. And that's why we're at Zion. That's why we have the voice of the Spartan Legion as a part of our program.
Yes, it's a connection all the way around. Norcom has always been known as Norcom State or Little State. Since I marched in the band, a lot of the cadences kind of are similar and things, but yeah, we've always been like two peas in a pod.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I rest my case because I brought up the question earlier, and how people would, you have more than two people, you're going to find a soothsayer. And so, Leah, you just talked about another one of your the jailhouse lawyers that is not going to be satisfied, and so I just had to add that in. They're always going to find something.
Something it is.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And then they're not going to volunteer to do the work. Also, that's the other
They
thing.
don't volunteer to work, but they find all of the mistakes that you've made.
Yes.
That part. Yep.
That's
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Sure.
So I'm calling them out.
Let me ask a question about the Alumni Association with the students. And I see a lot of posts on Facebook where you all are interacting with the students. I see a lot that
Excuse me.
Leah takes. And I think that's very important for those students to know, to see alumni have been many years removed from walking the halls of IC Norcom, still involved in showing the dedication they have for their alma mater. And hopefully that some of that was sort of, you plant a seed in them and then it will grow and they will be just as involved as you are today. So talk about that relationship you have with the students and I see you all at many of the games and how important it is for us to support the other activities, like the musical concerts, the plays, and things like that, to make sure that they know we support them as well, as not opposed to, but along with attending the football and basketball games, just supporting them in general
It's
for the
it's
things they do in the STEM programs and all of that.
yes, it's very important. As a former educator, um, sponsors of the band, or well, the band director, athletics, and the chorus and drama and golf, any auxiliary, they only get but so much from the city. They only get but so much that the school board is going to allocate for the school. And so with that, they have to be creative with how they are able to get what the students need. So it's very important for us to make the connection with the students and make sure that we oh, I'm sorry, and make sure that we are very tight with the teachers so that they often tell us what they need and we in turn get what they need, because we know that it's a disconnect with the money. And whatever we can do, we do it. If it's water, if it's whatever. We had the first, what was it, Madam President? We had the first 2 weeks ago, last week, with the athletic association. The
Tailgate.
Thank you. The tailgate.
The
That's
tailgate.
something that we help sponsor every year to kick off the football season, feeding the students. But Madam President, we were just talking about the connection that we have to have with the students and ensuring that we are supporting the students and we are actually supporting all entities. And I wanted to say we actually support all entities. It's not just one.
That's right. Teachers make requests, and then we try to fulfill the requests that they make. But we also try to have a presence in the school. For instance, we're going to be there the first day of school. We're going to have on our maroon and gray. We're going to have the music blasting, and we're going to welcome those students to Norcom High School. I want to sit down with the principal, and I'm hoping that they will once again start engaging the students and learning their alma mater, learning the history of Norcom. And there's one thing I got to say about the library staff, Miss Bushy and Miss Nicole Miller. These individuals are not Norcom graduates, but they have come in and they have embraced the history of Norcom. They came in and they asked the Alumni Association to buy display cases for them, which we purchased, in which they can show artifacts, historical artifacts within those showcases. Not only that, they have the words to the alma mater written on the walls in the library. and they have a QR code. The kids can take their phone, put their phone to the QR code, and they can actually hear the singing of the alma mater. So I'm thinking that with our engaging with the teachers more, engaging with the leadership at the school more, I'm thinking that that's going to bring the children around. Now, can we get all of them to bring around? It's not going to happen. But though, as many as we can, we want to help them to understand why there's such a love. You know, people say, well, oh, well, y'all just feel that way because that's the only school y'all could go to. You can go to no other school. Yeah, you're right. That's the only school we could go to. But I tell you what, we have formed a bond that's a lasting, a bond that lasts forever as a result of that. And we want that to come to the students as well. We want the students to see that love and to see that fellowship. And it's my hope. My term as president is going out soon, but it's my hope, and I brought it up before, that we start a mentorship program. If a kid wants to be a veterinarian and we have a graduate who's a veterinarian, if they can't see face to face, at least Zoom, talk to each other, guide that student, help that student to know what they need to do in order to prepare themselves. So there's so many things that we can do. There's so much more that we plan to do. And it's not just about the galas and the fun and activities, but it's about engaging the teachers, engaging the students, and that we can get to a place where we can change the atmosphere at Norcom High School. Change the atmosphere so the kids, and if you understand from whence you come, if you understand whose shoulders you stand on, it makes a difference in your life when you know your history.
And that's one of the reasons the community engagement component is a start for involving members of the community who are interested in coming to the wreath laying ceremony. They can actually see the gravesite of Mr. Israel Charles Norcom and hear a tiny bit about the background about that. And I will say, with our co-hosts, during the legacy section of our Saturday night program, we have built into the dialogue a lot of the history in a brief way, not to stand in, just account, but to give an overview of the political times, the educational times, because all of this for Negroes, as we recall back then, started at the end of the Civil War. And, so all of the education for African Americans and other folks were developed right after the Civil War. And so that's how we can go back to the 145 too. We go back to those 1800s when the Chestnut School was there and when, they didn't have any African-American teachers. They had white teachers only. And then they started hiring. But Mrs. Rufe Holmes, one of the supervisors of the early days, did a chronology, and we're going to incorporate a little bit of that into the background information so that those who are there at the gala will actually hear how it really started in a succinct way. It's not designed to teach a history lesson, but we will capture some of those key moments, even in a video that we've done.
See, we're blessed to have Dr. Carver with us. Dr. Carver was with the State Department of Education. So she knows how to she knew how to weed through a lot of the paperwork and all to get us to where we need to be.
Yeah, and Leah, I'd like to say this to Dr. Carver. That's so important. I'm glad you are doing that. And over the years, the latest years, there have been emphasis on that area where a lot of our notables are buried. Because when I was in high school in the 70s, we used that area. We had high school fraternities, and we used that to have our initiations. So we had no idea of the historic significance of that area. It was just a place for us to make sure guys really wanted to join us. If they went out there at night, they really wanted to join us. So I think it's important for going forward, myself, adults, and our future alums to know the history, know the people that were buried out there. For many years, it was overgrown and forgotten. And, I think it's important to include. I'm glad you all are including that part in the beginning of the festivities.
And
Thank
so
you so
we
much
need
for
to
that.
join us.
And
Feel
James,
free to join us.
and James, and it's still in a state. Well, James will probably be there with his camera for Portsmouth Coffee Talk, I know, but it's still in a state of disrepair, and that's something that we need to address once the grand reunion is over. Because one of the Norcom graves, I understand that you can actually see down into the grave, and there are other pillows that have been knocked down by Mr. Norcom's grave. So there are some things that we need to address as well once this grand reunion is over.
You know, it's interesting. I'm glad you're talking about the history, but I think that you also add into the, especially the young folks, and when the school starts and actually with doing the program, the importance of it, and why you're teaching history, because you know, as we get as it's being wiped away in a lot of states, especially in these red states and across the country, our history, when our history goes, we go.
Yeah,
That's right.
And you made the comment that says we were called Negroes back in the day, but the new term now from Mr. Trump is we're riggers.
riggers. Yeah,
Mhm.
riggers.
So that goes back to a time that we know that they want to go back to, that there is an importance of we have to exercise our only power that we have is knowledge and the right to vote. That and if we don't do that, then we deserve everything we're going to get.
Exactly.
You have to be so mindful, even just piggybacking on the Colonel. Historically Black high schools, period. Out of the
Mhm.
state of Virginia, there were only 3 left,
Mhm.
and Norcom is one of them.
And Crystal, tell them 3 out of 115.
3 out of 115.
Mhm.
So just being when we went to the VIA program, the people there were just so astonished that we were still in existence.
Mhm.
And because they're still honoring schools that we had never even heard of that are historically Black
Mhm.
high schools. They're still honoring people. But the fact that they were so amazed by the fact that we were still in existence, to the point they're joining us for the grand reunion.
Mhm.
Some of them are, and they're so excited. Madam President was saying how they were just calling her, and we're coming, we're excited, we want to see what you all are doing. But the whole atmosphere was just so jubilant when they knew that I.C. Norcom was in the house when we went to that event. And just knowing that, you know, with them trying to erase everything Black, that is even more important now that we come together as an association, as a community, as a city, to make sure that we ensure that the legacy that Mr. Israel Charles Norcom started, that it continues with the next generation that's coming forth, because it's been this big gap, we know, at Norcom High School for some time, but it's going to take us getting in, bridging that gap, and really being effective, and being able to merge the generations together and let them know that this is what's at stake. We could lose everything.
Yes. Yeah.
We've always had to fight harder than everybody else. We always the last to know, always the last to get. It's nothing, none of that has changed. But we have the opportunity to make a big impact in what's going on in the city of Portsmouth. People
And you
don't
know,
like that we had the pride of Portsmouth on the back of those band uniforms, but that's what we are.
exactly.
Because if you ever march, if you ever at a parade in the city of Portsmouth and I.C. Norcom's band was coming down High Street, you know that everybody on High Street followed I.C. Norcom's band.
That's right.
That was just what it was.
And the band was always last so that everybody could run down behind them.
They didn't want to lose the parade.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, but once again, just as Crystal is saying, just as the VIA is saying, that's the Virginia Interscholastic Association, or I may not have said it correctly, but anyway, that's their goal, is preserving history. And that's our goal, to preserve history. We have to do it. You know, these
Yes.
times are teaching us that we have to be responsible for preserving and sharing our history with our kids, our
Yeah.
students. It's up to us. It's not up to anybody else to do it. It's up
Right.
to us to do that. And that's the one thing that the Alumni Association is really looking forward to, making sure that we get this history, we preserve this history, and because you have to realize, Mr. Norcom was not only involved at Norcom High School, he was a trustee at Emmanuel Church. He was a principal in starting the Southern Aid Insurance Company, which was one of the first Black insurance companies for Black folks. He was engaged in so many arenas within our community. He was a fraternalist. He was engaged in so much, you know. His hands were in a lot of pots. And that's what we need. We need to preserve that information. We
Mhm.
need a sign up there on that Southern Aid Insurance Building at 446 Green Street, where the district is. That was the Southern Aid Insurance Company. You know, we need markers where
I'm
these
gonna
African
build because
American
that's a
historical
good
events had taken
football
place.
game.
You know,
Okay.
I got you.
we need to do that. So, and it's incumbent upon us, the alumni, to make sure that these things take place.
And
Okay,
we also,
go ahead.
oh, go ahead. I was going to say, I was director of teacher education for 15 years at the Virginia Department of Education. And we cannot find, I could not find through sources the actual accreditation of the first accreditation of Norcom High School. I was told by sources from the legislative services that those documents are stored somewhere in Dinwiddie County and somewhere. But anyway, they the responsibility for maintaining the records of the, you know, back in the day, are left with the school board and the city. And we know the political climate in the 1800s that we had. So they didn't preserve those kinds of things. And so I'm sitting here thinking we probably need to send an invitation to the Virginia Department of Education's Superintendent of Public Instruction to come to our gala reunion or to have a representative come.
But Joanne, I think
Perhaps the
that's a great
person
idea.
that's perhaps the person who is in charge of history, the
Mhm.
director of history, could be invited, and she happens to be an African American. Okay, so I was sitting here thinking that would be something we could do very,
Mhm.
very quickly, is extend that invitation and see what happens to the Board of Education as well as to the State Department Superintendent of Public Instruction.
Joanne, we give you that task. That task
All
belongs
right.
to you. And we
The
know it's
letter,
done.
the letter is written.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. See what happens. See what happens when you see what happens when you speak up. You get assigned the task. But anyway, alums, we are closing out now, but
Actually,
and give you a chance to.
before you close out, I just want to read something to each of you that was written by Leonard Blue Dozier from the class of 1986.
86.
Mhm.
Mr. Dozier wrote, he wrote, I'm getting to it. Maroon and gray run through my veins. Blood of a greyhound in my DNA chain. Family
Mhm.
bloodlines flow through historic halls of an institution built on excellence and standing tall. I see Norcom, home of the Greyhound. Pink applications in the 8th grade indicated who was Norcom bound. Taking pride in our academics, performing at a high level in band and athletics. No AC unit. We sweated while we studied. Practice on rocks for track meets. Still won the district every year, regardless of the teams. Be warned, if you didn't hold your grade average above a C, you find yourself back in the school you were supposed to be. No disrespect. You didn't ever want to be called a Norcom reject. Nothing has changed. New location, pride still the same. While other schools have closed and sharing names, the city tried to close us down in every decade. But the voice of the Greyhound community would have their way. Pride, still strong like back in the day, holding our ideas high as we cross the tracks. Win or lose, sing the alma mater on the way there and on the way back. All are informed upon entering our doors. Rules about the heart of the school on the entrance floor, protected by all students and faculty alike. Step on our hearts, face, and you might accidentally end up in our trophy case. To the founders, principals, teachers, and students who have walked through those halls, I honor, thank, and salute you all. Maroon and gray across my chest. our training, all we owe to you, the school that we love best. Leonard Blue Dozier, class of 1986. Well said,
Thank you.
well said, well said.
Thanks. Thanks, Leah. Leah,
And
get that
Domino's
to me.
Chef as well.
I'll get
Get
that.
that
I'll
to
send
me.
it to you. I'll send it to you.
Get that to me because I have somebody that probably can do an audio of that.
Okay, wonderful.
You know, a very well speaking voice, and he can do an audio of that. And I
Okay,
think
I will
that's
send that
something we
to you.
can have out there.
Okay.
As we wind down, everybody will have a chance to make a last statement. But I have to ask this: it might not be popular, but as the grand reunion ends next month, the homecoming.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
And I know y'all don't want to think about this yet until probably Monday, the Monday after the festivities. But which won't be as hard to put together, or because you have a lot of classes coming together. So, what's the date for the homecoming, and especially for people that can't make this and can look
October
forward to
21st.
the date, the 21st, that weekend?
October 21st is homecoming. So
And
prepare
they're still having the big tailgate that
tailgate.
we've been
Big
having.
tailgate. Pay for your tailgate now because you may not get a spot. So you need to get in touch with Les Young, the athletic director, and pay for your spot now for the tailgate because if you don't, you may not get a spot.
Yeah, it was pretty crowded last year. Okay,
It really
thanks
was.
a lot. Just had to throw that in. But anybody have any last comments they'd like to make before we end this broadcast? And I want to thank every one of you for coming on and sharing this great information.
My
This is
I
about
pleasure.
the
just,
third
I just
time we've
want to
had the
say,
alumni on.
I just want to say we're over 400 attending.
All
So
right. All right. Very good. Very good.
Joanne, you have anything?
I'll just be like Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies. Y'all come.
Okay, y'all come. Y'all
Y'all
come.
come. It's going to be a grand affair.
Yes.
Crystal, in fact, there's a lady downstairs right now. That's when I stepped away, leaving 2 checks here for tickets. So I may have about 8 in my book bag. So I got to come and see you tomorrow. Samara.
Thank you so much for the opportunity for us to come on. We so appreciate it. And yes, come. Don't listen to the naysayers because I know there's some naysayers saying, oh, you don't want to go. They're not doing anything. It's the same as usual. You don't want to miss it. Don't miss out on this. We are trying to bridge the gap between the young and the old. And so you are going to be left out. We want you there. Come.
And ladies, I want to tell you that man in the yellow back there, my colonel, my buddy, my beat 'em up kind of guy. Even though
Hi
he's a
there, everybody. I'm in the, I'm
even though
toggling between both
even though
meetings.
he's
I'm
a
in the middle of.
Samara, thank you. Even though he's a Western Branch graduate, he is also an associate member of the IC Norcom Alumni Association.
All right.
Colonel, what do you have to say, Colonel?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all of y'all for coming on. And I just have one last question. Who you playing for homecoming?
Oh,
Be nice if it was Booker T, but I think it's probably going to be Norview or somebody like
I
that.
think it's Norview.
Yeah.
Keep talking. I'll tell
It's
you in 1 minute.
October 21st.
October 21st.
They should start playing Booker T because we have like a over 60-year history with them.
Yeah. Have
Okay,
talked to the athletic director.
Yeah.
we play Granby.
Easier said than done.
Granby. Okay.
We play Granby.
Okay.
We play Granby for homecoming.
Gotta win.
Booker T would have been the perfect. But let me just say one thing, James, before you go. I know we got to go, and I just love you all so very much. But it was it did my heart so much good when I saw Coach Anthony Hawkins, and those boys on the field on Friday, and to see Joe Langston being channeled 100%. And those guys got down and they got on a huddle and they prayed a prayer together. That's how Norcom always did things. We always
Always did.
prayed before we did anything. We prayed, and it was so good to see the guys initiate that prayer at the game.
Awesome.
I
Coach
told you,
keep up the good work, Coach Hawk.
Leah, I told y'all one time at a basketball game, us players, we always prayed before the game. And one of the referees tried to force us to, get in the game, but nothing stopped us from praying home or away in the middle of that floor together. So
That's the name.
I'm glad that they're bringing that
Amen.
part of it back to our
Yeah.
athletics. Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, everybody. Thanks a lot. We appreciate you and we'll see you. Take care.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
All
We
right. Thank
appreciate you.
you.
Thank you.